Come on in and find a seat. Good morning. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I think you knew that. I am delighted to welcome you this morning on this last Sunday of August, and good morning to those of you who are online. Welcome. We're glad to have you with us this morning. This is our sacred space and time. This is our opportunity to tune in to the divine presence as well as being connected to each other. So we're going to start with connection. So I'm going to invite you to stand up, move around, say hi to everybody, introduce yourself to anyone you don't know, and welcome people back who've been away. And we'll get off to a lovely start. And those of you at home, please take a moment to give yourself a hug. Make yourself comfortable and welcome. In just a moment, we're going to sing together. So get ready to come on back and join us. All right. Come on in and take your seats. Come on back. All right, we've done our wonderful welcome for each other, and now is the opportunity for us to sing together. So our musician this morning is Nathan Aswell, coming to us from Vancouver, and he's getting ready to do his second walk on the Camino in Spain. I asked him if he's gotten married since the first time he did it, and I asked him if his wife was going with him, and he said, no, this is not her thing, but he's definitely going to go do it, so we're delighted to hear that for him. He's writing a book about his first walk, so we'll see what this does to him. His message is encouraging people to live big lives one small step at a time. So let's stand, and you know this song well because everybody offers it to us at least once. This is something wonderful. Please stand. And we're going to sing together in just a moment. Come on, Nathan. There he is.
Warm greetings, everyone. It's always my great pleasure to be with you at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. In honor of this month's theme, the path of freedom, and of today's theme, embrace the freedom of a long life, I'd like to kick things off with a song we did together last May, a song by my dear friend Harold Payne called Something Wonderful. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful,
Let it in.
something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now.
That sounds good.
I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart. And it won't let go. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart. And it won't let go. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now.
Something wonderful.
And all this love inside,
We
can let it shine. Whoa. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful.
Yes, something wonderful. We make space for that this morning. So this is now that we've sung and we've done our connecting, now it's time for us to take this unity connection and take it down inside to our center. So I'm going to invite Reverend Judith Fleener, who is our prayer practitioner this morning, to come up and do the opening for us right now.
Something wonderful, something beautiful, something bold. This is the divine energy of the light and love and freedom and joy. That is that one energy, that one power, that one divine light that I choose to call God. God is not something far away, but very near, right in the center of my being, in the center of every being, living fully, experiencing itself as you and me. This one energy of light and love and I are not separate. And so it is in this place of remembering that I claim for this time together something wonderful, a healing, a bringing forth, a remembering of that divine energy that is in and through and as all things. Remembering that it is easy to see as we see the smiles and the power and the joy of the Olympic athletes at their best in their power of their performance, and the best in their friendship and their connection, living life fully. And that each and every one of us does that each day, lives fully in our own power and our own presence, in our joys and in our sadness. And when we remember that the divine is in the center of all of it, it is easy then to settle in to healing, to abundance, to joy, and to calm. And so with the fullness of heart, I just claim for our time here together that it fills our lives with joy, seeing our friends sitting next to us, giving hugs, listening to an inspiring talk that hits in the heart right where it needs to, being filled by the music and the food and the conversation and the quietness. I just claim this time together as beautiful, wonderful, joyful. And with that, I just give great thanks, and I let it be, and so it is.
Judith.
Fairy tales can come true, it can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams. And life gets more exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part, you've had a head start if you are among the very young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you derive out of being alive. And here is the best part, you've had a head start if you are among the very young at heart.
Well, we're just moving into such an exciting time. Here we are in the midst of the Olympics. And our wonderful altar this morning, Joe Hughes did this, of course, in honor of the Olympics. And you might notice that Barb Galen is definitely dressed for the occasion. We appreciate that. Stand up for a second, Barb, so they get to see you. She's our walking flag this morning. So we are now 100 days from the election. And so this is a time for us to begin to cultivate the consciousness that we want to bring to that over this next 100 days. And it may take some inner focus and work to do that. And so I'm going to let you know in the announcements about something that's available to support you in that process, one of the things that is available. So here we have the Olympics, we have the election coming, and this is the anniversary. This month is the anniversary of the moonwalk. And I was getting my car window got damaged, my driver's window. We talked about that last week. I talked about it. It's been repaired now, but while I was there getting it repaired, I was having a conversation with the woman there in the office who was greeting everyone, very friendly. And on the TV screen in the waiting room was the rebroadcast and the kind of tribute to this moonwalk. And she said to me, "Do you remember where you were when that happened?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I was standing right next to my mother in front of the television set. I remember it was summertime, so I guess it was July, but we're standing there watching that happen." And my mother said to me, "I never thought this day would come when we would actually do this. But she said, Dad believed that we would." Now, my mom was 45 when I was born. She was born in 1908. Her father was commensurately older than that. And so when he came to Nebraska from Iowa, where he was born, they lived in a sod house and they had a covered wagon. The idea that before there were even cars, he thought we would get to the moon. I guess he was into Jules Verne. I think it's quite amazing, So we're celebrating that as well. And when I was watching this on television, hearing, I want to say Neil Armstrong, I think that's right. He says, "Houston, from Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed." Just astounding moment in our history. So this year, we're celebrating a grand rising, and it seems to me like this is definitely the year for a grand rising for all those reasons and many more, probably many more personal ones. And because July, of course, is our month of Independence Day, this has been the path of freedom. This theme has been the path of freedom. And this morning, what I want to talk about is embracing the freedom of a long life. So, what is a long life? It depends on us. Do we make meaning out of our years? Or do we just get through year after year? This is a story of a fellow who was making the most of it. It says when Morris was 82, he went to the doctor for a physical exam. And a few days later, the doctor saw Morris walking down the street in town with a gorgeous young woman on his arm. And the next week, Morris had a follow-up appointment. And so he went in for a few routine tests, and the doctor said to him, "Good for you, Morris. You're doing really great, aren't you?" And Morris chirped back, "Just following doctor's orders. You told me, get a hot mama and be cheerful, so I did." And the doctor said, "I didn't say that, Morris. I said you have a heart murmur. Be careful." So sometimes it's advantageous to us to hear what we want to hear, and sometimes being a little older can be conducive to that. As we look into the idea of embracing the freedom of a longer life, of a longer lifespan, one of the things that occurred to me is that we don't always recognize what old age means in any given moment or time. It's quite relative. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "Youth is not a time of life. It is a state of mind. Nobody grows old merely by living a number of years. People grow old only by deserting their ideals. Years wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Worry, doubt, self-distrust, fear, and despair, these are the long, long years that bow the head and turn the growing spirit back to dust." So you can be 20 years old and have a wrinkled soul if you've given up hope, if you've forgotten what it means to be hopeful, to be optimistic, to be looking forward with enthusiasm and gratitude and embracing in your life. So I looked up life expectancies to see when old might be happening in various eras, right? So in the year 1000, your life expectancy was 24 years. So I would imagine by the time you're 20, you're beginning to be old because you didn't have much time left. I don't know if people got creaky and gray earlier, but they certainly didn't live very long. And then in the year 1820, they'd gained about 12 years, so the life expectancy was 36. So if you were born in 1820, it was expected you would only live until you were 36. So that means by the time you hit 30, you were old, right? And so when we look back in between times, like during the Renaissance, people who weren't married by the time they were 15 or 16, they were using up their time pretty fast. And then, if you move ahead to 1900, in 1900, the life expectancy was 46 years. So, in 1900, the life expectancy was 46 years. My mother was born in 1908, and she lived to be almost 83. That was a lot longer than the life expectancy was predicted to be when she was born. But somebody that was alive in 1900, if they were 45 or even 40, they were getting up there, right? And then when we come forward to 1950, the life expectancy was 65 years. So by the time you were 60, you were expected to be gone if you were born in 1950. But if you were already 60 in 1950, you were old. You were old, right? In 1999, we had moved on up to 76 years. in life expectancy. So about 25 years ago, if you were born then, your life expectancy was 76, right? And I won't even ask how many of you are older than that already now. So you've already outlived your old age, which would have hit at 70. So what is it now? I don't even know. But in 2024, whatever the life expectancy is, we need to be able to decide for ourselves, I think, what is really a time of old. My brother, who was born in a while ago, will be 95 next month. He certainly, when he was born in the late 1920s, early 30s, was not expected to live to be this old. In fact, one of my brothers, the rest of them have all passed away, but I remember one of them said to me after he'd hit 80, he said, I've outlived my annuity. I wasn't supposed to live this long. But he kept right on living for years after that. So who's old? Who's old? It's all relative. Now, when they ask people, when does old age really start? If they poll them every year as they get older, it's a year later than they thought the year before. And I know when I was 60, my grandson, who was 6 at the time, he was sitting in the back seat of the car. I've told you this before. He was sitting in the back seat of the car with Amanda, and he was looking at the rings on her hands. And he said to her, Auntie Amanda, are you old? And she said, yes. And she was 65. And he said, is Nana old? Now, I was sitting in the front seat in the passenger side, and my son was driving. And I was 60. Is Nana old? And Amanda very wisely said, well, you'll have to ask her. And I said, yes. And my son said, no. And I said, think about it this way. I am 10 times as old as he is. So from his perspective, yeah, I'm old. Maybe not from mine, maybe not from yours, but relative to a 6-year-old, I'm ancient, right? It's all relative. So we get to decide for ourselves when we decide we're going to be old, no matter how much we make jokes about it. I remember somebody I used to date saying to me when he was about 35 years old, oh, I'm getting too old for this. At 35, hello, he's still alive, by the way, so he's already outlived old by quite a while. Here's the deal. What does old really mean? It is actually not something that is set. It does not matter what color your hair is, or how tall you've grown to be and shrunk, or anything. It doesn't matter. It's the young at heart idea. Where do we live from on the inside? We've all known people who were ancient that we felt like, when I'm your age, I hope I'm just like you. And we've also known people who have been pretty old, and we look at them and think, oh dear, they look so much older than the number says they are. You know what I mean, don't you? You've seen people like that on both sides. There is something about embracing life with enthusiasm and curiosity and cheerfulness that allows us to continue on in our lives in an enthusiastic way, no matter how old we are. Another thing that Ernest Holmes said was, a person who has enthusiasm for living, who is young mentally, cannot be old, for the mind and the spirit are ageless. I don't know about the brain, but the mind and the spirit are ageless. Ageless. The vehicle may look all kinds of ways. We watch it progress, but what does it mean then from a spiritual perspective to have a long life? That's an incredible blessing. Longevity was always a blessing that people wanted. Health, wealth, long life, right? And so to experience that and not embrace the blessings of it is to lose the gift of the length of life that we have, whatever it is. I did a memorial service once for a 5-year-old girl. She had been at a wedding, and in the midst of the reception, which they had outdoors in this big field, everybody was celebrating. She had wandered off onto the side road and been hit by a car and was killed immediately. And one of her parents said to me, as we were planning this memorial for her, this celebration of her life, her mother said to me, you know, she was the most amazing child, the most amazing person. And if it was her time to go, I think that some part of her felt like going during a celebration would be a happy thing and to be celebrated. So we want to celebrate the life that she had and the time that we had with her. And one of the things they had at the memorial was a bunch of balloons that were set up because she loved balloons. And during the memorial service, one of them popped. And it was like a little comment from the sidelines there saying, you got it. Celebrate me. So whatever the length of a life is for a particular soul in that part of its journey, that's the right length for that life. For whatever reason, we don't know. And so those of us who are here today, we are experiencing the gifts of having lived longer than that little girl. My father died at 50. That was unexpected, but it happened. Now, I'm quite a lot older than that. So I look back at that, and when I think of him, he seems older than me. But of course, he wasn't. His soul decided, for whatever reason, that it was ready, it was time, and went on. And so, when does old really happen for us? You know, I imagine that some of the choices that we make can leave us in that situation where we feel old sooner rather than later. But one of the ways of seeing the advantages of a long life is recognizing how much more love we have the opportunity to experience and share if we're willing to. Because love is available around us all the time. I'm not talking necessarily about romantic love and partnering, or children or grandchildren, or siblings even, but connecting with people with love, being present, taking a moment to see the divine in the other person, however disguised it might appear to be, however much the other person may not be aware of it, to be able to see that long life. We have a chance in that time to begin to become familiar with and learn what matters most. What matters most to us, what matters most in life. It gives us an opportunity to know ourselves more deeply, more completely than we did when we were young. It gives us the lifetime to experience and grow and gain experience and skills that are very useful later and can be very useful to be applied to other people that we're with in life, to give them assistance or information that could be useful. Yes? We have the opportunity to worry less about what other people think. As we get older, we begin to learn that everybody has an opinion, including ours. And I remember Ram Dass saying once, I still have as many opinions as I ever did, I just don't take them very seriously anymore. You know, we not only don't have to worry about what other people think, we don't have to worry about what we think. You know, there's a bumper sticker, I haven't seen it for a while, but used to say, don't believe everything you think. I think that's a good one. And we have time, we've been given time, to cultivate the relationships we have and to grow them and to expand them. So we have those advantages that somebody with a shorter life hasn't had as much of. And those are things to be treasured. Knowing ourselves, loving others, letting go of our worries about people's opinions, growing our skills, seeing ourselves progress, and learning what matters most. What do we really care about? How are we going to carry that forward in the world? And so then we're left with a question. What are we going to choose to do? As Mary Oliver says, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? What will you do? And the question isn't, you've got this many, many decades ahead of you, what are you going to do with it? It's like, right now, with this wild and precious life, what are you going to do? Are you going to mend a relationship? Are you going to take up a new skill? Are you going to learn a new thing or improve an old skill? Are you going to begin a new project? Learn how to paint, learn how to sing or play an instrument or do a sport? What are we going to do with this wild and precious life that we have? This is the poem that statement comes from. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous, complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have been doing? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? We're still here. Whatever age we are, there's something that we're here for. I can remember a woman in my congregation in Huntington Beach. She was in her 90s, and she helped write curriculum for the Science of Mind, our Science of Mind studies. Her name was Gladys. Gladys was a practitioner, and she had a desk downstairs in our office in Huntington Beach, and she was sometimes asleep there. But she was always extremely sharp, extremely present, wise. And as she was approaching 93, I remember she said to me something about, I don't know why I'm still here. She had a son who had already passed away at 77, but Gladys was still around. She said, I feel like I've done what I came for, but I'm still here. And she said, I'd like to keep doing what I'm doing, meaning coming to the church there and helping to write curriculum for the Science of Mind. She said, I'd like to keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. But Reverend Mary, she said, if the creek has risen, I hope you'll tell me. And I said, I don't see any sign of it yet, Gladys. That was somebody I looked at when I was 40 and thought, wow, if I live to be 93, I'd like to be like Gladys. She was somebody who was alive. I've talked to you also about Mary Thurman, who used to be the person in the office for the Salvation Army in Santa Rosa when I was a new minister. She knew all of the clergy in town, and she would call us, and she would say, for example, Reverend Mary, I have somebody who needs a bus ticket to Sacramento, and we can buy the ticket for her if your church can reimburse us for that so we keep that fund going. And I'd always say yes. Mary was in her 80s. She was about 86, I think, at that time. And she said, oh yeah, people come in and out the door for, they want handouts all the time. They kept kind of like a food kitchen for people to come and buy, or not buy, but get food that they needed, that kind of thing, a food bank. But she said, I can spot a con artist a mile away. As soon as I walk through the door, I know. And I believed her, because this was a wise person who had been through a lot and seen a lot and discerned a lot and was a really smart cookie. So am I going to be smart like Mary? Am I going to be wise like Gladys? Am I going to live that kind of life? What is it I'm going to do with my one wild and precious life? Because what I've done up until now isn't all of it, and that's true for you too. What do we want to do? Do we want to travel? Perhaps we want to travel. Perhaps we want to learn or spend time with family or strengthen ourselves physically or get into a spiritual deepening. Whatever it is that we would like to do, that is calling to us. What are things you've always wanted to do? Well, think about that. What is your bucket list? What are the things you've always wanted to do that up until now you haven't done? You've put them off until. I'll do that when, or I'll get around to that if, or I will be happy when. Why not now? There must be things on your bucket list that you could go ahead and start, that you could actually do. I started thinking I would like to knit again. I used to knit. So I decided I was going to knit a blanket for my new grandson. And I did. And I was so proud of myself. Now, if you looked at it really closely and you understood what it was supposed to be, you probably could see there were plenty of mistakes in there. It doesn't matter. His Nana made it. So it's going to be special, and maybe the mistakes make it more special. I like to think so. Here we are in this one wild and precious life. It doesn't mean we have to do any of it perfectly. In fact, it's not a lot of fun if we do it all perfectly, because then there isn't any place to go, okay, now next time I'm going to try this. Next time I'm going to try that. Amanda has this wonderful thing she does. She makes bread for us always because it needs to be gluten-free for her and dairy-free for me. So she makes bread for us all the time. But it's never just one recipe. There's always an experiment going on in the kitchen, like what would happen if I added more of this or less of that, or it looks like this time I put in too much of this, so next time I'm going to do it that way. I don't, it's a tribute to creativity and not being willing to be bored that allows this creativity to come forth every time. How many of you have an Amanda bowl? An Amanda bowl, a bowl that Amanda made. How many of you have a bowl that Amanda made? Yeah? If you were to bring them all and put them side by side, no two of them would be exactly the same. Because she always is creating, always is making new, always. Now, there are people who pride themselves on being able to make a whole series of things that look exactly the same. But we have industry for that. You have a one-of-a-kind, priceless object because it was created entirely new and there is not another one like it anywhere else. And that is also true of the person sitting beside you. That is also true of the person sitting in your chair. That's you, by the way. Unless you got somebody on your lap. I mean, who has the dog? So here we have the opportunity to say, it does not matter where I am in my life. It does not matter what I physically think I can or can't do. The question is, what will I do? What am I choosing to do? What now of the things that are available to me that I am able to enter into and enjoy, which of those am I going to choose? Because as soon as we just shut down and stop, life is over no matter how many more years we live. Would you agree? So I want to invite you to really seriously think this week about the Olympics, about Joe, who was an ice skating athlete and now is one of the coaches and people who encourage the skaters and help them push themselves into greater and greater magnificence. I want you to think about people like Mary Thurman and Gladys Carlson and what is available that you can do to grow your consciousness toward this election, to celebrate the Olympics, to be honored by the fact that you might have been there to see it when we landed on the moon. You know, one of the things this lady said to me when we were there, because one of the fellows came in from the service area who was a young guy doing his work out on the glass on various cars, doing a good job, and he came in and she said, "These guys don't know anything about it." I said, no, because they're babies. They weren't there then, just like we were babies when other things came into being, cars or whatever. Or we weren't even around. We weren't even anybody's thoughts when those came into being, right? So more and more and more will come about. I remember reading that the guy in the US Patent Office in 1929 said, everything that can be invented has been invented. In 1929. We have no idea what's coming. But we're here. We're all of us here. There's a reason we're here. The universe wants us here, and our souls want us here. Otherwise, we would have exited and done something else. So what will you do with your one wild and precious life now? Now. I'll leave you with that question. And let's turn within now to anchor this in prayer. Right here, right now, the fullness of the presence of God is in this place. This being, this beingness, this infinite presence, the great spirit, the mystery, the one, and nothing and no one is outside it, ever has been outside it, ever will be outside it. The wholeness is all inclusive, and it is not only around me and around us, it is inside and within, and continuing to nudge us forward to experience and express and discover and explore and create. We are that. So we allow the voice encouraging, compelling, impelling us forward into these new expansions, new learnings, new opportunities, allowing us to sink deeply into that divine presence and listen, and to be willing to take a step beyond the comfort zone of life as we know it right now, to stretch. Everything that is needed and necessary is within us and around us. The entire universe supports us in this, and we know this. We know this beyond all opinions, doubts, regrets, worries, confusion. Beyond and deeper than all of that, there is a deep truth of freedom. And this freedom has always been ours. So with consciousness this morning, and with intention, we acknowledge that freedom, that inner voice, that activity of spirit calling us into life more and more. And we're grateful to be reminded of it, to accept the invitation and recognize we're capable of it, and to allow everything that seems to be in opposition to this to simply dissolve into its native nothingness. It never was real. We grasp the real with great enthusiasm, with joyfulness and appreciation, and we let this word go into that creative law of mind and spirit where it is made so in form and being and experience by the power of our shared collective knowing, claiming, and belief. We let it go and we let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Please stand and join me for the, God bless you. Please stand and join me for the morning affirmation. Together. Although I'm aware of some of the limitations of aging, I am grateful for all my life experiences. I've learned to understand so much more, to explore, experiment, and discover. As I become quieter inside and out, I am ripening to the richest, sweetest fruit of all. I'm grateful for my long life, and so it is. You may be seated. And we take this opportunity now to prepare to bless the offering. So I want to invite the ushers to come forward now and recognize that this opportunity in this moment for giving is more than just sharing of our financial substance. It also is a spiritual activity of claiming the divine infinite as the source of our good through all the many channels that may come through. If you would like to make a gift to Golden Gate and you're online this morning, you can text the dollar amount you wish to give to this number that's up on the screen and then just follow the directions. And for those of us who are here and online, if you have given during the week in any way to Golden Gate, and because you're present here this morning, both online and here, you also are the gift. So we're blessing all of it this morning. So I invite you, if you're giving a gift with your loved one, hold it in your hands together. But if you are on your own this morning, let's all put our hands over our hearts as we prepare to bless all of the offering, including us, right here as we say together, "This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time." And so it is.
If I could look down on this path I walk from somewhere way up high, I could see the crooked road that I have come. I walked a mile with sorrow, I walked a mile with joy, and now I'm less afraid I'll be the one. For every tear I've cried, there's a smile that I have earned. For every mile I walk, there's a lesson I learn. I am not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. Some people choose to live their lives on quiet avenues, while others find a place in the parade. Some like me are seekers, we take less traveled roads, believing we can find a better way. And though I get discouraged, I won't be turning back. I have joy as my compass and faith as my map. I am not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. All of us are headed for the same destination, so why not blaze a trail that's got imagination? I am not lost, I am exploring. Life is an adventure worth enjoying, though I may not know where I'm going. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring. I am not lost, I am exploring.
All right. Come on over here. So, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we do, all of us, accept this offering with great gratitude, and we send it out into the world to do some more exploring, and so it is. If you are here for the first time this morning, I want to direct your attention to the welcome table back here. This is where you go to pick up all the handouts and goodies and information that will let you know more about us and about Science of Mind in general. And please pick up a welcome packet and take one of the blue cards out. Well, there's only one in there. Fill it out, give it to Galen. She's going to give you a little book as our thank you gift for being here today, and also our invitation to you to come back and be with us in the future. And I also want to acknowledge everyone who set up everything for us today. I've already mentioned our lovely Olympic altar over here from Joe Hughes. And I want to especially thank Reverend Judith Fleener, who came in to do the practitioner position this morning for the platform, because she's been coughing for a month and she managed to get in here. I haven't heard you cough once today, Judith, so well done. Excellent. We're very glad for that. And so we want to acknowledge all of these folks. Oh, and I also want to say, except now she's in the kitchen, I wanted to welcome Julia, who you might have noticed just now. She's brand new on the Sunday team. Yay! And so we want to thank her. So let's thank everybody. Yes? We want to thank them all. All right. Now, I told you I was going to let you know about an opportunity that's available for these 100 days during the election. If you text the word join to this number, you will receive a little texted, I guess it isn't texted, but it's a vocal recording you'll get every single day about consciousness around the coming election. Now, this isn't about candidates or issues. This is about stepping into the future with a sense of possibility, hopefulness, joy, and welcoming that. And that starts today, and it goes through November 4th. So if you did this today, you probably wouldn't get your next thing until next Sunday. Or, I don't know, I think we're getting them every day. Daily mindful messages. This morning's was from Michael Beckwith. Weekly Zoom community check-ins that are available, or not, depending on what you want to do. Intentional community building, and some somatic exercises, the physical aspects of all of this. So those are all available. And this is not just here. This is, and it's not just Science of Mind, it's also taking in all of the new thoughts. So there will be unity people, there will be religious scientists, there'll be agape people that are supporting this, that are sending these messages. So I highly encourage that. Also, Reverend Leslie and I are going to do a workshop in preparation for the election, the Sunday before the election. We'll tell you more about that as we get closer to that. Also, if you have not yet signed up for more possibilities for sacred travel, these are the 3 areas that we're considering traveling to in 2025. Now we have 8 people signed up back there, and they're exactly split. We've got the Bali Bhutan 4, and we've got the New England 4. So you could be the tiebreaker. So that sign-up sheet is back there. It is not a commitment to go, but it's an interest. I'd like to know more. So that's what that sign-up is for. If one of those calls to you, or if they all call to you, you can mark that off on the sheet there. Also, we encourage and invite you to, every Sunday when you come into the room, as you're saying hello to everybody and greeting everyone, imagine seeing a music setup over here, where our music director is managing the morning. And this is a marvelous person who thoroughly delights us and loves to be here, and that we are thrilled to have. We are ready and welcoming that person, and your part, if you choose to accept it and it won't self-destruct, is to pick up, those of you that don't know Mission Impossible, not know what that means, but anyway, pick up one of these music director job descriptions, give it to a musician that you know, encourage them to pass it on to somebody who might find this an intriguing thing to try for. We have had several people send in resumes, and so we're looking for more so that we have some options there. I don't think we have the right person yet, but time will tell. So let's give it some more opportunities there. Today is our town hall meeting. Right after the service, you'll have a chance to go and get your little goodies and your drink and come right back and sit down. We're going to spend about an hour together, and we're going to talk about the church right now, how Golden Gate is doing, and we're also going to answer your questions if you have any, and ask for feedback about several different things, ask for your input and suggestions, and we're aiming for about an hour. This will be available both online for those who aren't here physically this morning, and for those of you who are here, so we encourage you to stay for that. And like I said, we're aiming for an hour or less, so we can all hold that in consciousness as well. And then next Sunday is our picnic. Yay! How many of you are planning to come to the picnic? I should see every hand. Yeah? Well, most hands. Okay. So if you haven't yet told us what you're going to bring to share at the picnic, or how you're willing to help, set up, take down, clean up, whatever it might be, take a look over there. And there are 2 sign-up sheets on the event table over there. You can look at those. One's for food and one's for help. We look forward to that. That would be really fun. Also, on not this Tuesday, but a week from Tuesday, is Karen Drucker's last Sunday at Arrivederci from 5:30 to 8:30. If you want to support her, go to the cafe, have a little dinner, hear Karen's music, and the reservations are recommended. Let's see. Yes, also Stan. So it looks like now we're going to do a memorial on sometime in September for Stan here, for all of the church folks and anybody else that knew him and wants to come, because the one at Villa Marin has overflowed, and we want to reduce the stress on Mariana. So don't go to that one, come to this one. And then we also said we were going to do the memorial for Sue Ruda. That memorial will be the 29th of September, and it will be here, and Reverend Lloyd will be here also for that. So don't miss the memorial. Also want to let you know that there are still 2 openings to serve on the food bank team for Tuesday, August 13th, and that is from noon to 2 p.m. It's only 2 hours, and it's just working with another group of volunteers, other groups of volunteers from other organizations, and a handful of folks from here, and just making food boxes and containers ready to go to the local areas where people can come and get their food. So it's a great service to the community. Maybe that's one of the things you want to do with your one wild and precious life, is spend 2 hours August 13th and help with that. Also, membership class is coming. I am starting it the last Sunday of August. It will be on Zoom. So for those of you that are online who are interested in membership with Golden Gate, you can be a distance member, somebody who's part of our online community. I'm doing this on Zoom, so anybody that wants to can participate. Please do email administrator@ggcsl.org to let Sonia know that you would like to participate, so that she can send the Zoom link and the handouts to you. And then the new member reception will be on Friday, the 13th of September, an auspiciously good day. And I don't know where yet, but it will be that date from 6 to 8 p.m. And then on September 15th, that will be Welcome Sunday for new members, and we really want to welcome our new members that day. So I encourage you to be there for that. If you are new, I want you to sign up to let us know. You can email Sonia at the administrator email address, or you can sign up at the events table, but not today because the sign-up sheet didn't come, apparently. So next week, you'll have that opportunity. But please do that, and please consider membership if you haven't become a member. And, of course, prayer. I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room. Remember that prayer is what we do best in the science of mind, in religious science. And these folks, most of our practitioners, not all, but many of them, are emeritus practitioners, which means that they have served as practitioners for a minimum of 30 years. 20 years, sorry, 20 years. Still 20 years as practitioners. So how many of you who are here today are emeritus practitioners? Raise your hands. Yeah. So we are blessed with a lot of people who've been doing this for a long time, and the new ones are just as good. So please avail yourselves of prayer. Joyce is serving at the table this morning, and she will be available for prayer after the service. You can ask anybody questions about becoming a practitioner or working with a practitioner, because they do individual appointments as well, private appointments that are longer than the quickie prayer that you get on Sunday. Still, that's good to do. So we are going to enfold you right now. Just know that this circle of consciousness is a bowl. And at the rim of the bowl where we are, and in the bowl where you are, there is a concentrated consciousness now of loving blessing, of wholeness. So just imagine, as we turn within, that this great bowl is the presence of God, and we are all part of the bowl. And every point in this bowl, the wholeness of God is like a hologram, where every single particle shows the whole image. And the image and likeness of that mystery we are. And so, in that wholeness, we are exactly as we were created to be, from that divine spiritual template, an infinite idea conceived in the mind of God, not an accident, not a random appearance, but a deliberately manifested being. Sharing this beingness, we are one. This divine presence isn't divided up among us. We are it, individually and collectively. And so with great respect for the presence and the power within us and all around us, we go out into this week with the intention of welcoming the beauty, welcoming the wonder, the creativity, the longevity, the renewal and manifestation of everything around us, with such awe, wonder, and appreciation that we claim it now as our own, with this depth of gratitude, and release this intention into that creative law where it is reverberating, resounding, reminding us, and we are delighted. We let this prayer go, and we just let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand now and join us in the closing blessing and song. So we say together, I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'd like to take us out with a great song that was originally written by Bob Dylan and then rewritten by Rod Stewart, called Forever Young.
This is the Rod Stewart version.
May the good Lord be with you down every road you roam. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. And may you grow to be proud, dignified and true. And do unto others as you would have done to you. Be courageous and be brave, and in my heart you'll always stay forever young.
Forever young.
forever young. May good fortune be with you, may your guiding light be strong. Build a stairway to heaven with a prince or a vagabond. And may you never love in vain, and in my heart you will remain forever young. Forever young. Forever young. Forever young. And when you finally fly away, I'll be hoping that I served you well. For all the wisdom of a lifetime, no one can ever tell. But whatever road you choose, I'm right beside you, win or lose, forever young. Forever young.